Hello, everyone. Welcome to a quick note. Today, we delve into the riveting story of Pablo Escobar, a name synonymous with not just crime, but also a complex cultural legacy. Join us as we explore the rise and fall of one of the most notorious figures in history. If you find this content engaging, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more intriguing quick notes on various topics. Step into the wild world of crime, where the tale of Pablo Escobar unfolds. A charming but ruthless guy from Colombia who started with almost nothing and ended up being the biggest and scariest criminal on the planet. It's like a roller coaster. His climb to the top was unbelievably fast, but his crash was just as spectacular. Now, let's dig into the highs and lows of the notorious Pablo Escobar's life journey. Let's rewind to the early days of Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. Born on December 1st, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia, he came from a simple family. Growing up in Medellín as the third of 7 kids, his dad farmed and his mom taught. Even as a youngster, Escobar showed his knack for business. From selling fake diplomas to smuggling stereos and peddling stolen tombstones, he had a taste for risky ventures. School life wasn't his favorite. He left at 16 but returned 2 years later. The tough streets of Medellín had already painted a certain picture of him for his teachers. A year later, he dropped out again. Despite faking a high school diploma, Escobar tried college for a bit, dreaming of becoming a criminal lawyer, politician, or even president. Sadly, financial struggles forced him to abandon those dreams. Things took a wild turn for Escobar. He ventured into car theft, which got him into trouble and led to his first arrest in 1974. But that didn't slow him down. He also became a big player in the smuggled cigarette scene. As the 1970s rolled in, Colombia became a hotspot for marijuana smuggling. Escobar started off as a small-time marijuana dealer for different smugglers. In a shocking incident, he kidnapped businessman Diego Echevarria in 1971, and even though a $50,000 ransom was paid, Escobar went ahead and killed him. But Escobar was just getting started. He saw the big bucks in the cocaine trade, thanks to Colombia's perfect position between coca cultivation down south and the money-filled North American market. That realization marked his shift into the lucrative world of cocaine. Escobar's rise in the drug world was nothing short of astonishing. In 1976, he kickstarted a criminal gang that eventually turned into the notorious Medellín Cartel, a major player in the drug trade based in Medellín, Colombia. This cartel would go on to be one of the most powerful and influential criminal groups ever. The late 1970s and early 1980s in Miami, the heart of the cocaine cowboy era, Escobar played a key role in this wild period. His team of smugglers got creative, pioneering new ways to establish smuggling routes. They moved massive amounts of cocaine from Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador through Colombia and into America. Imagine everything from submarines to small planes touching down in remote fields. They left no stone unturned in this operation. Escobar's rapid climb to power didn't go unnoticed. In May 1976, the Colombian Security Service nabbed him with a significant stash of cocaine in his car. However, using his influence, he managed to manipulate the legal process and secure his release. Shockingly, the agent who had arrested him paid the price with his life the following year, falling victim to an assassination. As Escobar tightened his grip on the drug market, the demand for cocaine in America reached unprecedented levels. Under his command, the Medellín Cartel became the top dog in the global cocaine trade, controlling a staggering 80% of the cocaine flowing into America. This operation was so colossal that it raked in an estimated $420 million a week, earning Escobar the fitting title of the King of Cocaine. By the 1980s, the sheer volume of cocaine flooding into the U.S., around 70-80 tons per month, made Escobar one of the richest individuals globally. Forbes estimated his net worth to be around $30 billion, placing him among the top 10 wealthiest people on the planet. With his immense fortune, Escobar lived a life of opulence. Private planes, a Caribbean escape on Isla Grande, and a bunch of luxurious homes and safe houses, including a colossal 7,000-acre estate in Antioquia that set him back $63 million. On this estate, he crafted his extravagant ranch called Hacienda Nápoles, featuring a zoo with about 200 animals, including elephants, giraffes, and hippos. But that's not all. There was a lake, sculpture garden, airstrip, private bull ring, football pitch, tennis court, artificial lakes, and a ton of other amenities for his family and the cartel. Escobar wasn't just about indulging himself, he shared the wealth. He paid his staff handsomely and gained a reputation for being philanthropic. He spent millions improving some of Medellin's most impoverished neighborhoods, constructing housing, parks, football stadiums, hospitals, schools, and churches. This left behind a complex legacy, one of both criminality and social investment. As the late 1980s rolled around, Escobar's wealth reached staggering heights. Rumor has it that he actually offered to wipe out Colombia's $10 billion debt. But with one condition: he wanted immunity from any extradition treaty. In his last years on the run, there's a famous tale that he burned $2 million just to keep his daughter warm. Now that's a level of wealth most can only imagine. In Escobar's reign over the cocaine trade, corruption, intimidation, and violence were his tools of choice. His mantra was plata o plomo, which translates to silver or lead. Essentially, it meant you either took the bribe or faced the bullets. Throughout his rule, he systematically bribed and intimidated Colombian law enforcement, public officials, and political candidates. The financial support from both the Medellín Cartel and its rival, the Cali Cartel, had a profound impact on Colombian politics. These cartels managed to wield influence at every government level, allowing them to manipulate political processes, bribe politicians, and essentially control the entire political landscape. The Medellín Cartel wasn't just fighting against rival drug groups. They took it a step further with a reign of terror. Escobar introduced the chilling concept of narco-terrorism, using tactics like bombings, assassinations, and extortion to control Colombia and strike fear into rivals and enemies. The Medellín Cartel operated with utter ruthlessness, seemingly immune to any consequences. Escobar's criminal empire left a devastating toll, claiming the lives of approximately 4,000 individuals who dared to challenge his rule. This included police officers, government officials, journalists, and judges. Under his influence, Colombia earned the grim title of the murder capital of the world, marked by unimaginable levels of violence and corruption. In the 1980s, Escobar's popularity in Colombia led him to venture into politics, playing a significant role in the formation of the Liberal Party of Colombia. He secured an alternate seat in the country's Congress in 1982. In this role, he initiated community projects, gaining popularity and support among the local population in his frequented areas. Becoming a public figure, his philanthropic deeds earned him the nickname of a modern-day Robin Hood Paisa. His political position came with parliamentary immunity and a diplomatic passport. However, trouble brewed when the new Minister of Justice, Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, accused him of criminal activities. Lara Bonilla delved into Escobar's 1976 arrest, leading to Escobar's expulsion from the Liberal Party a few months later, spearheaded by Liberal leader Luis Carlos Galen. Despite Escobar's attempts to salvage his political career, a campaign exposing his criminal deeds forced him to announce his retirement from politics in January 1984. Just 3 months later, Lara Bonilla was assassinated. Escobar's political ambitions faced further obstacles, as both the Colombian and American governments relentlessly sought his arrest and extradition to the United States. In the mid-1980s, Escobar launched a relentless campaign against the Colombian judiciary. He resorted to bribing and murdering several judges to manipulate the legal system in his favor. In 1985, Escobar attempted to negotiate his surrender to the Colombian government without facing extradition to the United States. When his surrender conditions were rejected, Escobar took matters into his own hands and established the Los Extraditables organization to oppose extradition policies. This organization was later implicated in obstructing the Colombian Supreme Court from examining the constitutionality of Colombia's extradition treaty with the United States. In response to these actions, the Colombian Judiciary Building became a target. A violent attack resulted in the deaths of half of the Supreme Court's justices. The escalating violence prompted the Supreme Court to declare the prior extradition treaty illegal in late 1986, citing that it had been signed by a presidential delegation, not the president himself. The fight against extradition and the use of narco-terrorism tactics by Escobar and his associates intensified during this tumultuous period. Despite his earlier successes, Escobar's triumph over the judiciary was short-lived. The newly elected Colombian president, Virgilio Barco Vargas, promptly reinstated the extradition agreement with the United States. Fueling his grudge against Luis Carlos Galen, who had played a role in removing him from politics, Escobar orchestrated Galen's assassination in August 1989. In a further act of retaliation, one of Escobar's most notorious narco-terrorism acts involved the alleged orchestration of the bombing of Avianca Flight 203 in 1989. This tragic incident claimed the lives of all 107 people on board, as it was an attempt to assassinate Galen's successor, Cesar Gaviria Trujillo. Fortunately, Gaviria missed the flight and survived. Escobar's involvement in this bombing, along with other attacks on DAS, Department of Security buildings, triggered direct intervention by the U.S. government due to the death of 2 Americans in the Avianca bombing. The escalating violence and international implications added another layer of complexity to the already turbulent situation. Recognizing the serious threat posed by the Medellín Cartel, the U.S. government launched an extensive effort to capture Escobar and dismantle his criminal empire. American and Colombian authorities collaborated in an unprecedented manhunt, spanning several years and involving multiple countries. In 1991, the newly approved Colombian Constitution prohibited the extradition of Colombian citizens to the United States. However, this move was met with controversy, as suspicions arose that Escobar and other drug lords had influenced members of the Constituent Assembly to pass this legislation. Despite the extradition ban later that year, Escobar struck a deal with the government. In exchange for turning himself in, ending all criminal activities, and accepting a reduced sentence of 5 years imprisonment with preferential treatment, Colombian officials agreed to the terms. Escobar found himself in his own luxurious, self-built prison named La Catedral. This unique facility featured amenities such as a football pitch, giant dollhouse, nightclub, bar, jacuzzi, sauna, and even a waterfall. It was a stark contrast to the typical image of a prison, sparking further controversy and debate surrounding Escobar's influence and the challenges in bringing him to justice. Despite a seemingly fair agreement, reports surfaced that Escobar had tortured and killed 2 cartel members while at La Catedral. In response, the government decided to transfer him to a conventional jail on July 22, 1992. Escobar, however, learned of the plan in advance due to his influence and successfully escaped. He abandoned his lavish lifestyle, living in hiding as a fugitive. This escape triggered a nationwide manhunt, with Escobar facing threats from Colombian police, the U.S. government, and the rival Cali cartel. The downfall of the once mighty Medellín Cartel was set in motion. Intense surveillance and tracking efforts culminated in a large-scale operation on December 2, 1993. Colombian special forces, aided by technological support from the United States, located Escobar's hideout in a middle-class neighborhood in Medellín. An attempt to arrest Escobar escalated into gunfire exchanges. Ultimately, authorities stormed the building, resulting in the death of Pablo Escobar and his bodyguard as they tried to escape from the rooftop. Escobar sustained multiple gunshot wounds, including one to the head. There was speculation about whether Escobar had taken his own life, considering his previous preference for a grave in Colombia over a jail cell in America. Regardless, his death, occurring just 1 day after his 44th birthday, marked the conclusion of a significant era in criminal history. Pablo Escobar's legacy remains a prominent presence, not just as a notorious criminal but as a cultural phenomenon. Despite the heinous nature of his crimes, some in Colombia saw him as a Robin Hood-like figure, especially in Medellín. In this city, he was credited with providing amenities to the poor that the government had neglected. Escobar's funeral drew over 25,000 people, showcasing the influence his memory still holds. His complex legacy reflects the enduring impact of his actions on both the criminal landscape and the perception of his role in Colombian society. His former private estate, Hacienda Nápoles, underwent a transformation. The government gave the property to low-income families, and it was turned into a theme park surrounded by 4 luxury hotels overlooking Escobar's zoo. While most of the zoo's animals were relocated to other facilities, 4 hippos were left behind. Over the years, the hippo population in the area grew significantly, reaching 40 by 2014. In 2021, Colombian authorities initiated a chemical sterilization program to manage the hippo population. Escobar's life story has become a prominent subject in numerous books, films, and television series, with Narcos being one of the most notable. His narrative serves as a cautionary tale about the immense power that organized crime can accumulate, the devastating consequences of the drug trade, the corruption it fosters, and the tragic human toll it exacts. The lingering impact of Escobar's life is a reminder of the multifaceted and lasting consequences of his actions on both the Colombian landscape and the broader cultural consciousness. While Escobar's death marked the end of his reign, it didn't bring an end to the drug trade or its challenges. The Cali cartel took over the cocaine market in the years following Escobar's demise. In Colombia, memories of Escobar's reign of terror remain vivid. Despite significant progress in curbing drug violence and improving security since his death, the drug trade and associated violence persist, presenting ongoing challenges. In the United States, the pursuit and eventual downfall of Pablo Escobar marked a pivotal moment in the fight against drug cartels. It emphasized the crucial role of international cooperation in addressing transnational crime and laid the groundwork for continued efforts to combat the drug trade. Escobar's legacy, therefore, extends beyond his own criminal empire, impacting the broader landscape of efforts to tackle the complex and enduring issue of drug trafficking. Thank you for tuning into A Quick Note. If you enjoyed this exploration into Pablo Escobar's life, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more quick dives into fascinating subjects.